I'm Laura Elmore, owner of Global Dream Vacations, and as a grandmother, I enjoy traveling with my grandkids. Being able to share the world with them, the wonder of discovery, it's like rediscovering the world all over again. I have 6 grandchildren ranging in age from 15 down to 2, and I've enjoyed traveling with all of them at various ages and stages. Including last fall, I took my younger son and his wife and their 2 boys, who at the time were 2 and 3.5, and we spent a wonderful time at Disney World. That's a whole nother video about how to enjoy Disney with toddlers, but the travel itself was far easier than many people expected it to be. In fact, on the trip home, the biggest hiccup we had the entire trip was an airport delay for 6.5 hours. This was partially due to mechanical issues and partially due to weather, but we were already checked through security with over an hour till boarding time before the delay started. Add all of that to a 3-hour flight time once we finally boarded, and yeah, it made for a really long day. And when we finally, after the long delays, boarded the flight, surprisingly, I had 2 empty seats next to me. And several people around me were commenting, you know, lucky you. But then I asked the flight attendant to bring my 3.5-year-old grandson up to share the seat with me so that his parents could just deal with a 2-year-old alone. And I could visibly see the groans of many of the adults around me that, oh my God, a 3-year-old for 3 hours on a flight. But halfway through the flight, and especially by the end of the flight, everyone around me was congratulating my 3.5-year-old grandson and commenting to me on how well he traveled. And in fact, one mom of a child said, I want to travel with you. You seem to know how to do this right. Which led me to think maybe I'll share a few of these tips really on how to travel with toddlers and hopefully avoid some of the terror for you and for them. The first step is being prepared. The first stage is preparing for the trip, for the logistics of where you're going, when you're going, how you're going. That's a whole nother video. But today, in talking about it, I want to talk about the things that I do and how I prepare for the actual trip to try to ease some of the load. Now, first and foremost, every child, regardless of age, has their own backpack. This is the 4-year-olds. And it is something that we help each child select a backpack that is appropriate to their age and their size. Everyone has a different look, and that way they're immediately recognizable of what belongs to whom. And we pack together before the trip. Preparation is key here, that I don't wait till the day before the trip to start packing. I frankly am already setting aside things for the Disney cruise we're going to do in about 36 days. That I start thinking about the things we're going to need, looking for them as I shop, and accumulating them in a box so that I don't have a last-minute scramble. Now, in the process of packing, I always include the kids, even, yes, down to the 2-year-old, of letting them help with the decisions of what's going to go in their backpack. Now, obviously, that's with steering and guidance, and but by the time they've done it from age 2 to 10 or 12, frankly, the teenagers, other than a little double check from mom or grandma, by teen years, they're really pretty sufficient at packing for themselves. Now, first thing that we always include in the backpack is a lightweight blanket and a stuffed animal that is important to them. Different children sometimes have things like the now 4-year-old has a blankie that he has slept with since an infant, and he really needs that to sleep. So that goes in the backpack, and whether he sleeps in transit or not, even just curling up with that may help him to rest a little bit while we're traveling. He also gets to choose one of his menagerie, and I have one of my favorite memories from this particular trip. It was his first flight, and as we were taking off the first time, he was holding his Wolfie up to the window and sharing the exuberance of that experience with one of his favorite animals. And I snapped a shot. That will always be precious to me because he was sharing the experiences with one of his friends. Having that animal along, again, it's a comfort item, whatever it is for your particular children. Put something in the bag that will help ease the uncertainty. Traveling, there's a lot of unknowns, especially for young children, and having those comfort items will help just remove a little bit of the stress for them. Now, speaking of stress, that's the second item that I would say pack, and this is for our sake more than theirs. Pack your relaxed attitude. Things are gonna go wrong. Flights are gonna get delayed. There may be potty accidents, spills. Stuff happens to all of us when we travel, and more so when you have young children. But the more uptight we become, they absorb that stress and start reacting to it. The more relaxed we can become and go with the flow and let it happen, then the more relaxed the children will also stay. So flip the stress switch as much as you can, and remember, some of the most stressful parts of a trip often can become the funniest stories afterwards. But right now you just gotta keep your cool. Next thing for everybody's bag is an insulated drink container that has a closing lid. Now this is actually mine, not the grandson's, but I love having something that is insulated so that the drinks will stay cold longer. Also by having the flip top, that the straw or drinking vessel stays covered and protected, is going to keep it clean longer and help remove some of the possibility of dirt and germs. And in fact, in choosing a backpack, I always look for one. My grandkids' backpacks have side pockets. Their drink containers can slip in the pocket of their backpack, and that way they can easily pull it out as they get thirsty. These drink containers can be refilled throughout the trip, maybe rinsed out a little bit and occasionally, but especially when you're traveling, keep in mind that a strong contributing factor to jet lag is dehydration. So not only for the kids, but for yourself, continuing to have lots of fluids is going to be a big benefit. You can refill these in airports, restaurants. Flight attendants will give you a cup of ice water to refill them as you travel, or maybe even juice for a change of pace for the kids. So carry that with you. And again, in our case, everybody has a different drink container so that they're easily recognizable by the color and the design that's on them. Next item, snacks. A hungry child is an irritable child, and same's true for adults. And for example, with the flight that we had coming home from Orlando, we had 7.5 hours in an airport plus 3 hours flight. And yes, there's airport food, but A, it gets old, B, it can get really expensive, and C, it's not readily available on planes. I always have snacks packed for each individual. Now, for the younger children, I carry it in my carry-on so that it's not adding to their weight. I love a bento box. This is a reclosable container, and we have a variety of things in here. There's some dried fruit, There's some goldfish crackers, some pirate booty, peanut butter, other dried snacks, and a drink container. This is chocolate milk. It's a treat for them, and it helps offset the boredom of having the water over and over again sometimes. Keep in mind that you're going to have the trip home. So when I pack, I always have duplicates of all of these items in my packed luggage that I have set aside for the trip home, that I don't want to suddenly be coming home and find that now we're going to have to go to the store or stop in the airport and buy things. Again, having snacks that are comfortable to them, or in some cases, a few of the ones that I pack for my grandkids are treats that they don't often get, so it's special to them to have those with them. Tissues and wipes are two other necessities always in my bag as well as theirs. Runny noses are not convenient, and I like the kind of wipes that are antibacterial and alcohol-free. Whether you're wiping a mouth or maybe a bottom or a cut finger, it's just more comfortable to not have the alcohol involved. So those are the ones that I carry with me. That way I'm prepared for any cleanup they need or me. And also there's a lot of germs that they're being exposed to going through escalators and airplane train tables, etc. I have the wipes so that before they start eating or playing on an airplane tray table, I can wipe it down. You never know who's used it before you. And it's just kind of an extra measure of comfort to me. Now this goes in my bag, not theirs, but this is a little medication kit for the grandkids. I've got some age-appropriate pain reliever, some sinus medication. Planes can often cause changes in air pressure can cause earaches or congested noses. Having that can help relieve the pressure. I also have some Band-Aids, some Neosporin ointment with me, and because you never know when in transit something's going to happen, and there's not much that's more miserable than traveling with a child who feels poorly and you're in a position you can't do anything about it. Now the other thing that I always include is some lip balm and a little thing of lotion, because again, the environment in an airplane is incredibly drying, and having that can help soothe the discomfort for some of the kids. Now you'll notice that I have this in a Ziploc bag. I love Ziploc bags for so many things. I always travel with a variety of sizes, not only that I use to pack things, but I always carry empties with me as well. You never know when you're not only going to have something that needs to be packed in it unexpectedly, leftover food, drink containers. I also have ended up putting wet clothes in it or dirty shoes, and that helps keep that from spreading to the things around. Now, entertainment. You've got a lot of hours to fill, and depending upon your particular child, the attention span of a young child is typically 3 to 5 minutes for an activity. So when you're traveling for multiple hours, you're gonna need a variety of activities. And I frankly like to mix current toys with new toys. The excitement of something new can help break the monotony or discomfort of travel. And my first rule of looking for anything to carry is that it be compact, that it be lightweight, and that it be inexpensive. Grandma's not big on packing things that are really expensive, because if it gets lost or damaged in transit, I don't want to be upset about that item or have the child upset either. So I'm a huge proponent of the dollar store and the dollar bin at Super Target. I'm always picking things up at those two places. As I'm there, I always look to see what is available that might work, whether going out to dinner or driving to grandma's house or flying across the country. Let me share a few of the things that I typically like to use. Self-contained puzzles. This is $1. And my little guys love doing puzzles. These are some small puzzles that fit on a tray table. And it's something that even if the puzzle pieces get lost, the little container can hold other items that will become kind of their little prize box. Again, speaking of Ziploc bags, in this one are some Disney characters that we have left over from our trip to Disney last fall, and we're going to use them again for another trip. They're all easily contained in this bag and can be taken out and put back and kept together. Things that you know your children enjoy and that are age and gender appropriate for your children, and throw a few of those into your bag so when the restlessness begins, you've got something to help ease that. Coloring packs. I love these. And they come in all subject matters. This happens to be Mickey Mouse, but they've got Star Wars and all kinds of varieties for different age groups. These are wonderful because, again, they're lightweight, they're self-contained, the little booklet, some stickers, some crayons are already in here. And in fact, when we go out to eat, I carry these with me so that if the little guys get restless or impatient waiting, this is something I can easily pull out of my purse and share with them. Speaking of artwork, I love these magic artwork books. These are usually ones that they're magic art books that the pictures come to life with the magic marker that they have. The best thing about these is not only is it fascinating to children that what was blank is now suddenly coming to life, but also the markers don't make a mess. They don't mark on anything other than the paper of the book. And so you're not getting it on them or on anything around them. Speaking of artwork, one of the things I love to have for each of the kids, especially the older kids, is an individual container of art things. Now, in the case of the 4-year-old, in his bag, I've got some triangular crayons. Love these. Yes, they're a little more expensive, but I keep them only for travel. And these are wonderful because they don't roll away. On the airplane or the train, on the table, they're not going to roll off and suddenly you're scrambling to chase it down the aisle. These stay put. I also have some stickers in here for older children, pens, pencils, colored pencils are wonderful. Again, everybody has their own and it goes with them wherever they are. Something that's a little odd that I include in my bag is a roll of Scotch tape. Now, why Scotch tape, you ask? As we travel, we look for postcards. And even if the kids don't notice them, I'll occasionally pick up a couple at a destination, even without the kids. And here's why. Every child has a journal book that is also in their backpack. Now, this ranges from this for the little guys to bigger books or more age-appropriate books for the teenagers. And I encourage all of the kids to write, draw, and put memorabilia from the trip in their journal while we're traveling, especially on the trip home. This is a great way to kill some of that time and utilize those memories while they're still fresh. If they can't think of something, pull out a few postcards and maybe tape it to a couple of pages. Ask them some questions about the trip. And for the little guys that can't write, I'll record it myself. What was your favorite thing? What was your least favorite? What was the something new that you ate that you've never eaten before that you liked? Who was the most unique person that you met during this trip? Ask some questions to get the thought process going, and suddenly it starts pouring out of them. And with the older children, you can encourage them to write it down. With the younger children, I encourage them to draw, and then Grandma makes some notes on those pages. These become precious memories that we can look back on in the years to come to remember those trips and relive the joy of the time that we had together. Sticker books. This is an animal one. As I mentioned, my guys love animals. I've got one that's planes, trains, and automobiles. Again, they come in all sizes and subject matters from very young ages to very sophisticated for teenagers. These are lightweight, compact, and this is something, for example, the 3.5-year-old spent over a half hour on the trip to Disney going through this and putting some of them in place and playing with them, and then put it away, and we brought it back out on the trip home. And he spent another long period of time enjoying it quietly in his seat because it kept him entertained. Now, speaking of coming home, one of the things that I encourage you to do, whatever toys you have, plan on having half of them set aside for the trip home. My experience is that the trip home often is the harder leg. Going, you have the anticipation and the excitement. Often it's new and something that the children have never done before. Coming home can be a little bit of a letdown. They're tired, they're let down because the joy of the trip is over. So keep a few things tucked away for that trip. Keep them hidden in your suitcase. In fact, in many cases, I'll wrap them in inexpensive wrapping paper just so the kids don't accidentally discover them. And again, it kind of adds to the excitement that when Grandma brings out a wrapped gift to give them when they start getting tired of the travel, then it brings them alive again. Another item I really enjoy, magnetic sets. This one's planes, trains, and automobiles. But again, there's a wide diversity of subjects and different sizes. I love this is lightweight. It is self-contained, and it's something that they can play with. Or in the case of my grandsons, typically they both will play with it, and it keeps them entertained together for a period of time. Then when the excitement wears off, they can put it away, Grandma can touch it, tuck it in her case, and bring it out again in the hotel room or on the trip home, and it's just as fun to explore and enjoy the second, third, and fourth time around. Electronics. Frankly, my little guys, we really don't let them use electronics much. Until they're 3, they don't use them at all. And then at 3, we start introducing just a little bit of iPad play with some age-appropriate games. And the exception to that of allowing a little more time is when they're traveling. You do what you need to do to help the time pass and keep things settled. And so like during the 6.5 hours stuck in the airport, the iPad came out and the headphones joined it, and we had a headphone splitter so the 2 boys could play a game together wearing their headphones. And again, headphones are really important because you don't want to annoy and aggravate the people around you. It also can help them to rest and to sleep more comfortably if they have headphones on. For the little guys, I really like the kind that fully cover their ears. Again, there's better possibility that with the noise blocking, they might fall asleep and stay asleep for a little bit longer than just having earbuds in. Now, you don't have to buy the multi-$100 kind. We got theirs at Sam's or Costco, Target, Amazon. You can usually get them for $15 to $20. So they don't have to be really expensive, but they can be invaluable if you have a long period of time of waiting. Now, along with the electronics, you need a portable charger. And I actually, when I'm traveling with grandkids, I have one for them and a different one for me. Again, with almost 10 hours of transit time leaving Orlando and getting home, both sets of electronics were going to go down, and then it comes down to, okay, do I keep my phone charged for when I get home and need it, or do I let the kids keep their iPad charged so I can keep them entertained? I have one for each of us, so that decision doesn't have to be made. So those are just a few tips and hints based upon my own experiences traveling with toddlers that help avoid the terrors. And I hope it'll be helpful to you. If there's something that I haven't thought of to suggest, I'd welcome your input. Email me, laura@globaldreamvacations.com, and I'd love to share those tips with others. Again, I'm Laura Elmore, owner of Global Dream Vacations. If we can do anything to help you and your family enjoy your travel experiences, please let us know.